Hello there, World of Takers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be showcasing one of the craziest battles I have ever played in Tier 9, featuring the T92E1. This is the Tier 9 American Tech Tree Light Tank, a vehicle that I consider still overpowered to this day, with the 560 damage per shot, the insanely small profile, and very good mobility. The T92E1 has everything you would ever want for a light tank. Really, the only downside is the poor dispersion and pretty awful damage per minute at 1953. But as long as you use your mobility and good camouflage to work around that poor DPM, you've got a very, very deadly gun. And you're going to see that in this gameplay. So let's get straight into it. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Here we are on Black Goldville. We're in a Tier 10 battle up against some pretty solid contenders. The Leopard 1 and a TVP 5051 are actually some of the strongest tanks to put up against this vehicle, because the TVP can literally bring me down to about 300 health with a full clip, and the Leopard 1 has, what, 1800 more DPM than me? It could just push me and easily kill me. They've also got some nasty tank destroyers like the E4, 704, and Waffenträger. So yeah, not the nicest lineup to go up against, but because we are in a T92E1, I'm not all too worried. For example, we spot the enemy Leopard, we're able to slam a shell into his tank right at the beginning of the battle for 545 damage, and with that, the Leopard is already down to, wow, well, I was going to say half his health, but never mind, he's down to 400 hit points. In 2 more seconds, we've got another shell loaded. We see the T92E1 off to the side, aiming, and slap 619 damage, bringing us up to 1160 damage within the first 40 seconds of the battle. Sure, you might not have the most DPM, but honestly, as you're starting to tell, it doesn't really matter all too much when you've got a vehicle that hits this dang hard. So we can see the Leopard, we can see that there's no T92E1 there anymore, and that Leopard was able to spot me through the bush, so yeah, I'm being pretty careful. However, I see this TVP's just going for it, so I'll take a chunk into his vehicle, bringing us up to 1700 already. The TVP is by far the tank I want to clear, the most I want to clear, because that thing, as I said, has the ability, even with low health, to absolutely ruin my battle. So, wow, yeah, that TVP is no longer going to be trying to ruin my game. With only 440 health left, and the fact we've been able to take 2,500 damage off the enemy team already, yeah, we're doing pretty dang solid. Once again, we have our shell loaded, and the moment we do, we are dumping a shell into our opponent for another high roll of 632. We've dealt 3,200 damage within the first 2 minutes of this battle. That's a lot of damage dealt, but we're not done yet. Our Sheridan and Leopard 1 are pushing this AMX 5120, and while they're doing that, it appears the TVP is a bit distracted, so I'm able to slam a shell into the side of his tank. Unfortunately, our team put themselves in an absolutely awful position, and the enemy is absolutely flanking them. We have a reload in a couple more seconds here, a 3, a 2, a 1. We're going to aim it on the side of the 704. It looks like that shell just missed the spot I was aiming at and hit the angled backplate of the tank. It was not the best shot. I definitely should have just gone for the track wheel now that I saw it exposed, but I don't know. I kind of got robbed at the same time. However, it shouldn't have mattered all too much, because we're going to push on to the 704 as it is right now, who only has 525 health. Well, looks like I've got some bad RNG. All the shells high roll, except for the one that matters. This one, of course, has to low roll. However, I just scraped the side of his vehicle, and even though I lose 50 health, it's a lot better than having to waste a whole reload on that tank, especially because the 92E1 thinks I'm on reload, and we're able to slap a shell into his vehicle. Now the Waffle's going to try and get me, but I'm able to quickly squeeze my way around in the cover, and with that, we're up to 4,500 damage dealt against 2 full health tank destroyers. Alright, not too bad to start off with. Now, in this situation, the problem is, I really wanted to get base B captured, and I'm really disappointed that the enemy was able to capture base B earlier in the battle, because right now, I'm in a standstill. If I go for base B, I cannot really deal with that Waffle, because the Waffle can just out DPM me. It's got the DPM gun. I don't have the damage per minute to deal with the Waffle at this point. So because of that, I'm not too excited, but we are able to get a nice slap into the Waffle once again, and at this point, it's a tricky battle. Now I've got to see if I can deal with this waffle at one more shot, but again, I don't want to put myself in a situation where this waffle and E4 can hit me at the same time, so I'm constantly moving, trying to get this guy back and forth, making sure that he doesn't know where I am, and here we are, finally getting to this enemy waffle and finishing him off. Alright, well now I have to go towards the base capture. We're 890 on the base cap, and yeah, at this point there's no way we're going to win on base capture. Even if I was able to cap this base, I just don't think it's possible to cap this base and make my way to the other side of the map, but also the fact that there's an E4 right here. Yeah, so either way, at this point, the problem wasn't the E4. I wasn't even worried about this guy, because if it came worst to worst and I was on base cap, I could have just left. The problem is that it's just 990 on the base cap at this point. There's nothing I can really do about that. So we get a nice shell into the E4, but unfortunately, it's actually a loss, and we could have dealt 8,000 damage if we just had another 30 seconds on the clock, maybe 40 seconds. That's really, really unfortunate. We were able to deal 7,324 damage in a tank that has 2,000 damage per minute. That means we had about 4 minutes of continuous fire throughout this battle, which is pretty insane when you think about it, especially because there were still 3 minutes left on the clock. This could have been an absolutely monstrous battle. Unfortunately, we were cut a little bit short at the end there. Now, to be fair, we had an AFK Conway, and our Contra Cara's win rate was not much of a help. Neither was our M103s, and even the players that we did have that were at about 50%, we still had evening out by a 43%, and we only had another player 50. So we had two 50%ers, where the majority of their team had not only higher 40% win rates at 49, 47, but they also had 57, 48, 54, and then their 704 was 56, and finishing off with that E4 at 50. I mean, their entire team's win rate, I calculated, was about 7% higher, even with me added in. So yeah, it was a bit unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it ended up being. So that is the T92E1, ladies and gentlemen. An absolutely insane vehicle. Now, I figured I'd showcase a bit of a high note as well, just to end off the video, because that game was a bit depressing to end off on, so I figured I'd show a fun battle as well. So this game, the enemy team has, let us see, a WZ-111-1 GFT. Actually, that's just the WZ-111 GFT. They've got the VK-45 O2B, and that's it for tier 9s. Okay, well, they got a lot of tier 10s. E5, 907, 268, 183, E100. But, once again, we're in a T92E1. And when you're driving a T92, it doesn't really matter how many tier 10s you're fighting, because you can just badonk whoever. So there's the enemy WZ. I'm just going to slam a heat shell into him and high roll it, 564. The crazy thing about this tank is not only do you have great camo, but you have insane view range. I don't know why this tank gets view range, alpha, and camo. It's a weird combo, but you can see, even though the accuracy is not great on this tank, it doesn't matter. The shells always go where you aim. 2 shells, and that WZ-111 is already a one-shot for us with 330 health left. We've been able to deal 1,163 damage. We got the Object 907, we've got the Object 268. Now, I will say the pen on this tank is not great, but doesn't matter. I can just load heat, get a nice 520 slap into his vehicle, dealing 1,689 damage with the first 3 shells of the battle. Once again, it's only been about a minute and 20 seconds. We've already been able to deal a pretty solid chunk. So now I'm going to make my way all the way down towards the 907. I'm going to get behind his vehicle and hopefully get a pretty nice slap in. I'm going to load in an HE shell, and 850 into the rear, 3 shells, and just like the last battle, in 3 shells we are already up to 2,500 damage. It just shows you how confident the T92E1 can be. I mean, that is insane damage we've been able to deal. Now, I'm going to make my way over towards heavy side and try and help out my team with that. I try to get a slap into that 183. Never hurts to try. Unfortunately, the shell misses by a little bit, but you know what? I can't really complain. We've already done fine as it is. Now we're going to make our way over here. Hello, is anybody over here? Well, I'm not seeing anybody as of yet, but let's keep going. Oh, there's an E5. I thought he was AFK, but he's just really, really oblivious, I guess. But, okay, we're just going to squeeze around the corner here. E5 misses me, and at that point, we're just going to drive over this way. The crazy part is, even though the E5 is a tier 10 heavy, I can literally beat this guy in trades. I can literally just chill here, and then get to the side of this E5 once again. Bonk him for 547. In 2 shots, we've been able to take 1,200 hit points off that E5, where he's only been able to deal a third of that to me, dealing 400 in return. We've dealt 3,705 damage in this battle, and we're just going to reload here. Can we get a shell into the E100? Well, yes we can. A nice 464 slap. E100's going to die. We've dealt 4,200 damage at this point, and oh yeah, 3 damage into the enemy T110E5. Alright, not too bad. Not bad at all. Now we're going to make sure that the C5 can't hit me. Get a bit of a distraction there. And all that's left is the enemy FV25B183 with 20 hit points. So, I mean, not the craziest battle, but still a pretty good showcase of how solid the T92E1 is. By far, this is one of the best tier 9s in the game. I was about to say tier 10s, but this is a tier 10. By all means, I can do better in this tank than the majority of tier 10s I have in my garage. It is just a stupid vehicle. Hopefully, you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like it, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.